Welcome back to another shipbuilding guide video, guys. So in this one I'm going to be showing you how to create some rigging for ship or boat. So once you've completed both the hull and the decks and you have a 2D plan of the masts and spars, you can now begin to add the ratlines. So before you do that, just add some boards below the masts on the side of the hull, of course. I actually choose to make the ratlines to start with out of wool. So obviously we want to connect a line from here to the position now on the mast. So you want to create a slightly curved line to make it 2D at the start, so you can easily just correct any mistakes. Like I said, try and go for a gentle curve. That looks about right. So once you're happy with that line, you can now bring it across. Of course, if you're unsure of how this should look, you can obviously just look at a picture of the ship or boat that you're creating. Obviously this will differ from ship to ship, so yeah, just look at a few pictures whilst doing this. So obviously you want these blocks to be attached because we're going to world edit them. We're going to change them into fence blocks later on, but like I said, to start with, I just prefer to do that well, you can just go straight onto fences. This is another example where it's more angled, but the method is exactly the same, apart from the angled part where you just have to cut blocks out. So once you've done that and flipped it over to the other side using world edit, and of course replace the wool blocks with fences, you can now begin to, if I just get jungle block here, you can now begin to make the spars 3D. The spars are the poles that the masts will attach to later on, the sails, and to say. So I'll begin with this one, Lantine spar. Like I said, just making it 3D, just pushing this one out, remove the old blocks. Okay, make sure the angle's fine, that looks about right. Of course, like I said before, with the rigging, it will differ from ship to ship or boat to boat. Okay, so we've got sections of 3 there, section of 5, so yeah, so we've got 2 sections of 4 and then sections of 3 there. So with these spars, it's a similar process. So I prefer to use sections of 3. This gives me this is just my preferred angle, but of course you can make them flat if that's what you'd prefer, just like this, and on the other side, of course. But like I said, I prefer to have sections of 3 just on the end sections of 2 because it's not long enough for a section 3 there, and repeat the same process for the other spars. So once you've done that, you will reach the stage where you have the ratlines completed and the spars completed. So from here you can begin now to add the main ropes that attach from mast to mast. So I've laid out a few examples of how you can actually create a rope. So we've got a rope made out of glass here, one made out of gates, fences, glass and gates, glass and fences, and of course the most obvious choice, which is connect it to fences. I've also made a couple of examples. This is the bad example where the rope is perfectly straight. This is the good example where it has a gentle curve in it, which shows that gravity is actually having an effect on the rope. I also personally think that looks a bit nicer. So from here you can begin anywhere. I suppose I'm going to begin at the front. So for this one I'm actually going to choose to use glass and gates, as you can see there, because it creates a rope that works for this sort of scale. So decide where you actually want the rope to connect to. So those are the 2 positions. So obviously begin by curving it at the start. So you want quite a horizontal rope, horizontal line at the start. which begins to go more and more vertical. Okay, so I've actually fortunately guessed that quite easily first time. So you have two sections of 2 there, go horizontal, section of 1, and a section of 2 across, and then it goes straight to sections of 1, and then section of 2 vertically, and then a section of 1, and then 2 sections of 2 vertically there. So that creates a slightly curved rope. Now to thicken the rope, to make it stand out, you can add fences. Now this won't definitely look nice for every case, but I think for this case, for this scale, I prefer this over the connected fences, for example. So that's the first rope. You can now begin with another one. So I'll choose to have a connected fences. So as I was saying, for this one I want it to connect from there to say there, with a gentle curve again. So I've used 2 sections of 1 and then sections of 2 now, if that makes sense. Gradually want the sections to increase in length as the curve increases. So just like that. It's an example of a connected fence rope. For the ropes up here that connect to the spars, let's say from there to there. So it will take some time to get this right, so let's just lower this so the curve is easier to make. Okay, and then to highlight that, you can just put some gates on there. Gates seem to work better horizontally, whereas fences tend to work better vertically, like that. So that's another example. You can of course use disconnected gates to attach these spars to the mast. So I'm using wool at the start, and then I'll use a placer tool, just like that. Makes it a bit easier. Let's bring this one out. Okay, just like that. So there are a few examples of how I choose to make ropes and rigging. This is the completed stage for the rigging. You can see I'm just using glass only ropes there. So just I like to have a varied a variety of ropes, as you can see here. So what I like to do, just to complete the rigging, I actually like to add the sails and the other details, and then finally just finalize it, as you can see. So if there are any imperfections with the rigging, you can see here I've chosen to make this rope more horizontal, slightly more curved. I actually converted this from a connected fence rope into a glass and gate rope, which I think works more for this scale. I find that glass and fences and glass and gates seem to work better for smaller scale boats and ships, whereas connected fences seem to work better for larger scale ships. So I hope that's given you a decent idea of how to create your own rigging, guys. I'll now show you a few examples. So that was a tartan, which is a small ship, or you might actually class it as a large boat. So this is a race boat galleon that I've actually made a few months ago. As I was saying, the connected fences seem to work better for larger scale ships. You can see here I'm actually using glass and rope fences, I meant to say. That seems to give a thinner rope look, if that makes sense. And obviously, like I was saying, the fences and glass combination seems to work better vertically, whereas as you can see on the back here, the gates and glass seems to work better horizontally. I'm actually using connected never brick fences, I think that is, here. Okay, now the Seebeck, which will be the last example that I'll show. I'll show a few pictures at the end, just in case. Okay, so this is more similar to the tartan. Again, I'm using disconnected gates and glass for the ropes that go mast to mast. I think that works a lot better than connected fences. So fences and glass for more vertical ropes, especially there. I think that was a good choice to do them there. You can actually include a rope that goes from the bow sprit to the beakhead area, which I think is quite nice. So like I was saying before, it's important to actually look at the picture of the boat or ship that you're making to gain ideas and inspiration. This video is just designed to give you an idea and basically a guide, as the video is titled. So I hope that's given you a good idea, a good understanding of how to go about making some rigging. I'll now end the video by showing you some more pictures of examples, and of course I'll leave the link, the world download to this map. So hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and as usual, thanks for watching.